I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I have the honor to introduce our new dean, Jared Tudor. He's a PhD, a Dean of Chief Administration of Office of Kent State University, Geauga. Dean Jared.
Where do you want me? I was going to say just a couple of words. Is there
Well,
any place?
if you get up in this area, we can have you on
Yeah,
camera.
we'll get you on camera, and this way, all those in Geauga
Oh, McCullough
County.
is in the back. Are you running the deal? Okay.
Okay. Well, hello everybody. Again, my name is Jared Tudor. I'm the new interim dean at the Geauga campus. My responsibilities as chief administrative officer is not only to manage our Burton campus, but also the Twinsburg Regional Academic Center. So I'll be on the road quite a bit, and I've been on the job roughly a month. My official date was July 1st, but my predecessor, David Moen, was able to give me some extra time and get used to things, and he's been very, very wonderful to work with, and it's been a nice, easy transition. There's a great team at the Geauga campus. We've got a great business director, we've got a great advancement officer, great student services manager, and they've had me out on the road. I can tell you, as of 2 days ago, we are now the second largest regional campus in the Kent State University system. I won't mention who we're bigger than, but nonetheless, we are now number 2, and that says a lot, not only about our enrollment manager and his team's work, but also the type of students that Geauga County produces, and they want to go to college, and they're coming to Kent State University at Geauga. And some of them are actually dipping down and going into Twinsburg, and as long as they're on those 2 locations, that's wonderful. I'm a recent resident. I've just moved here. I live in Burton, Ohio. I'm 1 block off the square or the circle or what have you, right behind the Congregational Church. It's been a great place to live. It's very easy living. Yeah, the same song is on the radio when I start my commute and when I show up to work. It's less than a mile. I've walked it once, but it was like on a Saturday. I was just walking up to the building getting some stuff done. I probably wouldn't do it, during Monday through Friday, but nonetheless, it's been wonderful. I've been at Kent State University for 18 years, the first 17 of which I spent at the Stark Regional Campus. So I know regional campus life. I love regional campus life. It's a very unique type of educational setting. We're not a community college. We are not a major research university. We're not a private liberal arts college, but we have functions of all 3 of those. We fill all 3 of those types of functions. I've spent a lot of my time over the last month meeting with people in the community, and it's been absolutely wonderful. Again, I'm new to Geauga, so I'm learning the ropes, but the first thing I've learned is how much support there is for that campus. More so than a lot of the places that I've been elsewhere. So it's great. It's nice to see. I'm meeting with superintendents, hospital presidents, county commissioners. It's been wonderful. It's a great community and a lot of support. And I know the other regional campus deans, not only at the Kent State system, but my OU colleagues and OSU colleagues, they're very, very jealous. And it's great to be able to represent the Geauga campus at statewide meetings and knowing that it's great being very confident about the place that you represent. All right, and I can tell you one of the mantras that's going around at regional campuses is that flat is the new up. It's like, well, our enrollment's flat, so that's like the new up. And I'm like, well, Geauga, no, up is the new up. I mean, there is no flat. I mean, we just keep growing and growing and growing. And I do have some marching orders that relate to that. First one of which is to develop the Burton campus as much as I possibly can, and that means bringing programs, more 4-year programs here. And I met with Steve Jones, who's the University Hospital president at Geauga, but he also has responsibilities at Geneva and Kanya, and he said, we need more qualified allied health people, and that's just one niche where I'd like to bring more programs that fit that niche to the Burton campus. So that's just one set of marching orders, but there are many more. I don't want to take more of your time, but I'm here to help. Kent State certainly wants to deliver educational programs, but also wants to be a problem solver in the community where we can. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Jared, I do have a question for you, if you don't mind. Moving to Geauga County, there'll be plenty of surprises, mostly in the winter,
Yes.
for you. I'm not sure where you actually came from to here, but the first surprise, and I wondered if your predecessor geared you up to the Great Geauga County Fair.
Yes.
And the traffic nightmare that can, a parking nightmare that can
Yes.
be.
Well,
Oh.
it's funny you say that. It's two things. One, I come from West Akron, so I moved
Okay,
up,
so,
I
yeah,
moved up
you-
here.
yeah.
So I know some. But the one thing people have asked me that aren't from Geauga County, they said, "Do you have a four-wheel drive car? Because man, you're going to need it." All right. Then I got here and I started asking people, "Do I need a four-wheel drive car?" And they said, "No." They said, "We get a lot of snow in Geauga County, but the people know what to do with it. They get it off the roads. So if you got a front-wheel drive car, you'll be fine." All right. Sheriff told me that. Everybody's told me. He said, "No, we know what to do. We know how to handle this stuff. It's just snow. We've been doing it for a long time." So that was one thing. Now, as far as the fair is concerned, President Warren. We have a new president at Kent State University, Bev Warren, and she's doing a listening tour, and she will be at the fair.
Great.
Yes, she'll, the fair opens the 28th. That's a Thursday. She will be there in the morning. She's going to have breakfast there.
There's our meeting. We're having our meeting there.
Yeah, she really wants to interact. She's the most energetic person I've ever met. I mean, she's just out there, and she's touring the regional campuses. In fact, she's touring the regional campuses first, which says quite a bit about the investment that Kent State University is willing to make in terms of the regional campuses. But she'll be there, and the other thing we're looking at is moving graduation to the fairgrounds. So. One of those great problems to have is that when your enrollment is growing, you're graduating more people, and then you gotta have ceremonies with more people. And we've outgrown our so we would like to move it over to the fair. And we're gonna.
Jared, I do have a question. When we're looking at all the universities in the state of Ohio, in population, Kent does rank second?
We're
Next to
number
Ohio
two.
State?
Yeah,
Next
if
to Ohio
you put our regional campuses
All
together,
together.
we're number two.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true, and it's something we're proud of. But what's nice is we're also doing quality. We're not just ramming a bunch of students in buildings and then see what's happening. They're coming here. They're quality students. Our retention is up. Our graduation rates are up. And that's a tribute largely to our faculty and our student services teams. They're the ones that are getting the students to come, getting them to persist, and getting them to graduate. Yes, but we are number two.
But what's so nice about the regional campus that I found, as a young mother in my very, very early 30s, when I went to Kent State University full-time, being able to go to a regional campus and park real close to the building and not have to pay for that parking.
Right.
The shock that you get when you go down to main campus and they stick you over by the stadium, and you get on a bus and you wonder, where am I going?
Right.
Get out. But what's really nice now that you don't have to matriculate down to the main campus, you can stay at the lower,
Right.
Geauga for your 4 years.
Right, and
in certain programs.
And we're trying to do more of that. So we're trying to bring more programs to the campus, so more of that can take place.
That's great.
And that's what higher education is probably going to look like, I should say, in the future. You're going to see that as a real option. You're going to see, higher education is really changing. But the one thing that is changing for most, the one thing that changes whereby people will pay attention to it the most is the price tag. All right. Now, the one thing that I can say, when President Warren is doing the listening tour, the question that's always going to pop up is why Kent State, Geauga, or Ashtabula, or Stark, and my answer is simple. All right. It's the first thing that should pop in anybody's head. World-class education with world-class faculty at $6,000 a year. That's it. That is it.
High
That is
schools,
the
private high
number one reason. Okay, now, what I'm gonna do, part of my job, is to go out and ask people to invest in Kent State University Geauga by investing in the students and making sure that most of our students don't even have to pay that. All right, that there are scholarship opportunities, there are grant opportunities, so we can get those students through cheaper. But again, world-class faculty, all vetted through the Kent campus, which is a major national research university. I didn't get to teach at Kent State because Kent State Stark said, you can teach. No, it was the entire university that said Jared Tudor was okay, and that's true of all of our faculty. World-class, folks, all right? And again, we've got students to match, so we've got world-class students and world-class faculty, so it's great being in the class. It's the one thing I do miss. So last year I didn't get to teach because I was working out of the provost's office. This year I won't get to teach because I got to do my job. And then maybe the year after I'll find some time to teach one class.
Well, going along with your world class, when I graduated from Kent State University, there was over 4,000 in my class, and the keynote speaker was Ted Turner.
Yeah.
And he got up there and he said, my one big thing was all night news. All night news. And you got to find your one thing.
Yeah.
That was, really great.
And those students will do it. They will do it. Actually, Steve Jones will be our commencement speaker at Geauga at our graduation in August.
Wow.
So,
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
don't be a stranger. If you have any need for county, call.
Oh, we will have plenty of need, and I will certainly not be a stranger. You'll see a lot of me.
And the guys in the back row, they're responsible for the snow removal.
Okay.
Part of the engineer.
We got the best engineer department in all of the state.
Yeah, outside
Ours are guys.
of Geauga County, they say you need a 4-wheel drive car. Inside, they said no, they know what to do with it. It's snow. We move it.
I got it.
You might want to buy snow tires. They
Snow
are an
tires.
advantage. But
I'll get some snow tires.
Or drive behind the plow truck. It's always good. Get behind the plow truck.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure meeting you. So item number 2, we're going to have the engineer's office. How are you, Dennis?
Morning. Good morning.
Okay, this is going to be for Wooden Road. Anything you wanted to explain, or is this just basically the final paperwork on our process here?
This is signing the agreement, pointing you as you were before the executive officer, but to sign the agreement to go and enter a contract with OPWC for Wooden Road.
I have a question about Wooden. I had a gentleman call me, lives in Bass, and they must have somebody living over there in Wooden. I guess when you're digging out the ditches, they're just wondering if the grass is gonna be put in and
We will restabilize.
gonna stabilize everything, right? And I was gonna call, but I know that you always do, but a lot of times when you're the one living there, sooner isn't soon
right.
enough. Yeah, yesterday was
We've been
better.
working,
Yeah.
we've been in and out of there quite a bit, so.
Yeah,
Is
so
the
I
other-
was gonna call you about that.
The other concern also that I got a phone call on yesterday, there's a party by the name of, I believe is it Gil or Jill, the original understanding was is that he was gonna have part of his fence replaced on that project. And he's fairly upset because he said that when they utilized his yard or whatever, and I've been playing phone tag with Joe back and forth to just try to get this resolved, since we're on this. I told him that I would try to get back with him, and I haven't had a conversation with Joe, but from the beginning of when this originally took place, they utilized his
As a
area
loading area.
as a loading area, and the agreement was going to be that they were going to
Fence
replace
back.
the fence back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and he's made that request, and now they're telling him that wasn't part of the deal. So
Oh,
he's
right.
pretty upset, and he's actually, I got a call from his neighbors actually first, because he's trying to now formulate a little bit of a screaming group to say, we want, we want to try to get this resolved. So, I don't know if you get a chance to maybe, I could get you his name, it's on my.
I'd be happy to give him a call,
message.
talk with him and see
Yeah.
what's going on. And
Yeah.
figure out if there's a disconnect somewhere, we'll make sure we
Okay,
can get
yeah.
that corrected.
So, And now, you know, that was it. He just basically said, you know, we worked with them to do this, and now, you know, they just want to have their end of the deal taken care of and satisfied, so.
I do know that we were on another property last week working on a fence too, so.
Okay.
It may not be the same one, but we are, you know,
Yeah.
slowly cleaning up all that, you know, as we're finishing up the project.
Okay.
This phase of it is, you know, the final phase of it to resurface the whole length of it, widen it,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
resurface it, so.
Okay,
Just impatient, a lot of folks are.
yeah.
It's-
Okay, if we could do a read on number 2 then.
The County Engineer's Office is requesting the Board approve and authorize Ralph Spitaleri, Chief Executive Officer, to execute the Ohio Public Works Commission Project Grant Agreement, State Capital Improvement Program for the asphalt resurfacing of Wooden Road in Chardon and Hampton Townships in the amount of $300,000.
Make that motion?
Second.
Commissioner Smeedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Reer?
Aye.
And Commissioner Spitaleri.
Aye, motion stands approved. Okay, item number 3 is going to be for the paving of this wooden project.
Yeah, this would be to award the bid to Roniak Paving, as they represented the lowest and best bid of all the bids that were submitted.
For Bainbridge too, right? Oh, that's
No,
Cocosa.
no, yeah, this is just for Wood Road,
Yeah,
this is
Wood-
for the OPWC
okay.
project.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, if we could do a read on number 3.
The County Engineer's Office is requesting the Board award the bid to Ronick Paving Incorporated for the widening and asphalt resurfacing of Wooden Road, County Highway 25, in Chardon and Hamden Townships in the amount of $747,571.10, as they represented the lowest and best bid. The bid bond submitted shall be held to serve as the performance bond for this project.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Smeedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Reer?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. And number 4.
4 is to award the project, the Bainbridge Road resurfacing project, to Cocosa Construction. This is a federal aid project. There are federal dollars included with this. Roniak, or Cocosa did submit the best and lowest.
Okay.
project.
And this will go from 306.
This will go from Solon all the way to Washington.
Okay.
So we'll skip over the section that ODOT, you know, with the widening as far as they did. We'll touch in and we'll come back up on that about 100 feet and start from there and work our way east. So, but it's the whole length, both sides of 306.
Okay, all right. So if we could read number 4.
County Engineer's Office is requesting the Board award the bid to Cocosa Construction Company Incorporated for the asphalt resurfacing of Bainbridge Road, County Highway 11, sections A through G, in Bainbridge and Auburn Townships in the amount of $957,545.90, as they represented the lowest and best bid. The bid bond submitted shall be held to serve as the performance bond for this project.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Smeedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Reer?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. All right, and then the last one that we've got here for Roniak.
This is to award the bid of the asphalt resurfacing of Pettibone Road in Bainbridge Township. The entire length of that, it's also a federal aid project. Roniak did submit the lowest and best bid for this project.
Okay. And that would go 306 all the way to the top there by the church. Okay.
So,
All righty, if we could read number 5.
County Engineer's Office is requesting the Board award the bid to Roniak Paving Incorporated for the asphalt resurfacing of Pettibone Road, County Highway 607, sections A through D, in Bainbridge Township, in the amount of $589,938.94, as they represented the lowest and best bid. The bid bond submitted shall be held to serve as the performance bond for this project.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Reer?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Next
Nick.
up.
Okay, the transit department.
Mike.
Oh, Michael.
Good morning.
Morning, Mike.
Okay, if you look at numbers 6, 7, and 8 on the agenda, they're all tied together. Number 6 is the transit departments are requesting that you folks approve the new position and job description for a budget officer. We currently do not have that position. Number 7, along with that, and of course this is based on the audit from Clemens Nelson, we're requesting that they approve that revised organizational chart to include such position as the budget officer. And then number 8, right now we have Catherine Waver as our administrative assistant. 3, based on the change of responsibilities in the concurrent audit that we had, her change should be from administrative assistant to said budget officer, and with the according, other responsibilities that go along with that.
Okay.
You want to vote on all 3 at one time?
I don't, is there any questions on any of those
I think it looks good.
3 issues?
And I was really pleased with that Clemson report.
Okay. We'll go ahead and read 6, 7, and 8 combined then.
The Transit Department is requesting the board approve the new position and job description for Budget Officer number 2203, effective July 10th, 2014. The Transit Department is requesting the board approve the revised Transit Department organizational chart to include Budget Officer number 2203. And the Transit Department is requesting the board reclassify Catherine Waybrecht from Administrative Assistant 3, number 2209, to Budget Officer number 2203, to be effective July 20th, 2014, with no change in compensation rate.
And I'll make those motions.
I'll second the motions.
Commissioner Smitty?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, all 3 motions will stand approved. And for number 9,
County car for tomorrow, for Friday. Sorry.
no problem.
Yeah, 7 a.m.
Yeah, or I could get it tonight.
It's up to you, whatever. Just-
Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to get it tonight, and that way I don't have to rush in the morning.
Thank you, board.
Oh,
Like the
Do we-
early.
Thank you.
Okay, so for number 9, it's actually gonna be, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for position of full-time Director of Transit Department. Department number is 2201. This position is an unclassified exempt position and will remain posted until filled. So basically, we've been without a transit director for approximately maybe 6 months, I would
Yeah,
say.
Yeah.
Mike's been
Mike is-
fulfilling,
5 months, yeah,
So-
end of February.
yeah.
Mike has been filling that position as acting director there, and what we're going to do then is we're gonna go ahead to advertise for to fill this position on a full-time level. So we'll be, we'll do a read to just basically put this out there.
I'd like to say Mike's been doing, in
I
my
think-
opinion, you've been doing a great job, but we have to
Still
do our due
advertise.
diligence and advertise the position. In the rare event there might be someone better than you.
I doubt it,
But I don't think so.
More
Thank you,
qualified.
and I understand.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just a due
Gotta do what
diligence
we're-
thing, so,
I understand the process.
thank you.
Okay, so number 9, if we could have a read on that.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of full-time Director, Transit Department. Number 2201, this position is an unclassified exempt position and will remain posted until filled.
We'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Smitty?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. And on the item number 10, Dave's not here, so I'll just cover this basically. We had, we basically had an agreement with Clemson and Nelson to do a review of our transit department. And we are going to take that one step further at this point to also enter into an agreement to have Clemson and Nelson and Associates basically incorporate the same style of audit procedure and checks and balances to just assure that, we're crossing our Ts and dotting our Is within the operational status of the county home, just like we did the review at the transit department, just so that we don't have an issue that surprises us that we were doing something wrong or that something has been overlooked. So this is going to be an agreement that we're going to enter in for not to exceed $7,000. And part of that also is that with that dollar in place is there's a value because they waive a retainer fee at the beginning of this that I believe was in an area of around $10,000, if I wasn't not mistaken. So it's
I don't remember the exact number, but it was substantial.
Yeah, so we were able to kind of ride the coattails actually of the engineer's office that originally had paid that to be able to save the county on that for transit. And now we're going to go ahead and incorporate them for the county home so that we could have an audit, in a sense, performed there from a neutral group, so.
I would just mention on the county home in the almost 11 years I've been associated here, she has consistently brought that budget down and has worked on a very lean budget and has, I don't see the necessity for this. I certainly respect my commissioners for what they believe to do, but this is a very difficult operation, a county home. It's very difficult to get people work there. They work for very low wages, and many of the folks that have worked there, you know, they don't stay long because it's really hard on them to deal with people who are elderly and who are at a very difficult time in their life. It's a tough job. I don't know how Karen DeCola has done it all these years, but I know that she has provided a lower budget every year and has cut things that, I don't know how she does it, but she does get quite a bit of donations and foods and products from various organizations around to keep the budgets down. So that would be the way I feel about it, but certainly, like I said, I do respect my commissioners and whatever they decide to do.
And to send the message out so that it's not interpreted in the wrong position. It's not that we suspect any problems. It's basically a checks and balance for us to just be able to get a fresh set of eyes that's neutral. That sometimes, you know, just like in the transit department, you know, they could recommend to us to say we need a budgeting officer for us to be able to have potentially something to give us better efficiency, productivity within the organization. So it's not that we are, doing this other than the fact of just trying to improve the operation. It's a small price to pay sometimes for a fresh set of eyes to see an operation in a different systematical approach.
The problem with the county home isn't the people that are there or working there. We have no way, shape, or form do we want to cast any kind of suspicion on those folks. The issue is it's a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week,
different.
365-day a year enterprise with one administrator, one top supervisor to do that, and that's a Herculean task to ask anyone to do. She's been doing a great job, but I don't think we would be doing our due diligence if we didn't have a third party come in, assess the program, say, everything. I expect everything's going to come back wonderful with these recommendations to make it better. That's my expectation, and I want to, as Ralph said, I have no thoughts that we're going to find some smoking gun or something inappropriate there. It's just we can't be there. Plus, that's not our expertise or field of expertise. These people do this for companies and organizations like our government. They did transit. They did the engineer. The engineers were satisfied with the job they did there. I can only speak for myself, but I'm satisfied with what they did for us at transit, and for the most part, they just confirmed that it was a well-run operation, and to me, this is like an insurance premium. We can get our results, and then we can say with confidence to our constituents, we had it looked at independently. That's my position. So unless you have anything more, if we read it out.
The only other part that I'll add to this is the biggest thing that we face in any organization is liability. And if we have a situation where we, an employee feels that there's an issue and it comes up down the road, we have a step that we took also to assure, that there were some measures taken, so that if there is some areas that we're lacking in, or some areas that, we're doing too much or not enough, then we can have a little bit of a snapshot of that, whereas right now, it's our word against their word, and our director's word against anybody else's word, where now we can have somebody else to be able to do that too, that as far as liability goes, I think it's a good thing, because it's also showing that we're trying to put something forward to protect the county as far as litigation and liability at a later time, if there would ever be an issue, that would arise, so. With that being said, then, let's go ahead and read number 8, or 10 for a vote.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute a management consultant agreement with Clemens Nelson and Associates Incorporated to provide management and/or fiscal consulting services in labor, employment, and other areas as requested for a study of the county home for the period of 1 year in the amount not to exceed $7,000.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Smeedy?
No.
Commissioner Reer?
Yes.
And Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. Okay, for number 10, we've got the Department of Water Resources. Doug, how are you?
Good, very good.
Jerry?
I guess just a side note on that last item there, we sort of do that internally ourselves over the last 10 years. We've hired Communicate Productions, and it's been a very benefit plus for everybody. We've changed, the way we do things because we have an outside eye looking. It wasn't to do with financial, but with personnel issues. We found out new ways of doing stuff, creating job aids and different things. And when you get all 40 employees involved in the input of the whole process, that's what helps a lot.
Well, with
it's
an
a plus.
organization with the kinds of money that flow through your department, I would think it would absolutely necessary. You're talking about operations, 200,000-300,000 versus one that's in the multi-millions. So I think it makes sense when you're looking at that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's helped us.
Okay.
Yeah. The next two items here are about succession planning, basically. My goal here is to retire in less than a year. I do have,
Just like Carlo.
I do have at least a good 2.5 months of vacation time between what I have now and accumulation time that I want to use. I want to just save it there. And so the first item, is with Jerry here. Way back when, 5 years ago, when I took the director position, I was a sanitary engineer, and at that time there was 2 positions. So they merged them into one position, and I took over in both parts. So for the next year or so, we're thinking that we should split it back out, and then since I'll be gone, I'll 2.5 months off and on, and just give Jerry a chance to be a little more in charge and responsible in the sanitary engineering role, and I'll still have the director role. And then at the same time, we do want to hire, we've been trying to find a design engineer for 6 months now. And the next item on the list is for hiring Laura Weber to that position there. So then this way, in the year when I leave, I'll feel comfortable that there's a good team here, Jerry and Laura, to take over. So,
Chippy.
yes, she is a PE, and the plus on this is she works with Ohio EPA.
Uh-huh.
And she knows every one
gets
of our
it.
treatment plants, because she's in for Geauga County, and she knows our operators, and she lives in Davis right by McFarland, so.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah, so she is, we went through many people.
We had nine resumes came in, we interviewed 3, out of those 9.
They were qualified there. And the key on this is over the next year here, with Thompson kicking in the sewer project, whenever we have a project like that, our workload increases by 25% on everybody. It trickles down for the number of phone calls we get with complaints to the financial for billing and paying the contractors to inspection. I mean, our department just gets crazier for that whole year. And I don't know if you guys got the notice about that Henning Drive thing, so that's gonna be kicking in because you're gonna be getting in the next couple months another letter I found out, which will probably be issuing water resources to build a treatment plant to solve that problem. So, and there'll be a timeline on that, so that's gonna be another major time thing that's gonna be hitting us big time in the next year.
And that would be for how many tie-ins?
So that one, I'm not sure,
I
it's a couple.
think there's about 80, if I looked at it quickly, I think there's around 80 houses in that subdivision, but it'll depend on what the EPA comes back and says, this is the area that needs to be sewered, so, because there's talk about that not only including that subdivision, but also expanding to the intersection of Auburn Road and Route 6 there to pick up the bar restaurant there, the old gas station. It's a convenience store now and a daycare center.
And that complaint arose how?
That was actually from the Chardon Township Road Department. They were out cleaning their ditches and found a couple pipes that were clogged up. And they requested that we come out and take samples of it because it smelled like septic.
Yeah.
So we, as a part of our process, we came out, took samples of it and submitted them, and the samples came back. I forget exactly what the numbers were, but they said something around 1 million parts per million of E. coli in that sample, and the allowable is around 600 parts per million. So
It
it
came
was
back 1 million
Yeah.
out of an
Yeah.
allowable million?
And where was this
allowable
again?
600.
This was where?
So it was.
It's a Henning Drive area there, off of.
Right.
Oh,
Between
that
Geauga
was,
and Route
that's
6.
the area, I
So
thought they did need to have sewers in there, right?
Across from the
Because they're
golf
in
course.
like 1 acre lots on septic
It's
systems.
somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Sometimes they're a little smaller too.
Yeah, right.
I've heard that.
So
What if
that's
it
the
comes
time
to,
frame
But
that
it
we
all
would be
initiated-
looking at for something like that.
Well, if we're proactive, you're gonna get the letter on this probably in the next, before, Labor Day here. If you're proactive and go along with, yes, we're gonna solve the problem, then they sort of let it happen like we did with Thompson and Parkman. They trust that you're gonna resolve it, and you build your own timeframe schedule yourself here. If you were to say, no, we're not interested or whatever, then they're gonna come back and say, like they did with Bellwood, in a sense, they say you have 2 years. After 2 years, we build $5,000 a day until it gets done.
And what has the reception been? Have you discussed this at all with some of the residents in that area?
We have not talked to
Wait,
anybody.
yeah.
Okay.
There's been-
We just officially got that letter
I
last
see,
week here.
right.
So
And
that's going
until
to
it gets
be-
assigned to water resources, it's still a
Okay.
health department and EPA issue.
I see, I see.
It's
I
not,
thought that,
That'd
I
be a
thought that
mandate
area's
one.
been a problem
for a
for
while,
a long time, hasn't it?
especially the Henning Drive area.
According to the Chardon Road Department people, they've had that issue for a long time, and this was kind of the final head of when they were out there cleaning it, and it was almost overwhelming for their guys just to be out there cleaning the roadside ditches.
These homes must have been built in the 50s.
They look like they were probably, it was around the early 50s. Into
After the
60s
war.
area, yeah.
But the
They're
lots are
they're-
small, that's the
They're
problem.
one,
They're
yeah,
not the
they're
usual
1
2.5,
acre or
3
less
acre.
lots, and,
Yeah.
they're the old brick ranches.
Right, they're
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
congested
I see.
area.
As long as I've known it's been.
So
like
basically, like the leach fields have been,
No, They probably had,
Plugged up, or
Absolutely.
just never, yeah.
they may have had a 500-gallon tank and not
That's
much,
what I
and
think, but
not
a lot
much,
of
not much of
500-gallon
tanks.
a leach field to begin with because
Have
of
you
the
had,
regulations back then.
Right.
Have you had any reports of any kind of illnesses related to this? Have you had?
and again, if they were to come
I
in.
mean, it's got to
they would-
be.
They would go to the health department here. We wouldn't. in other
I
words,
wonder about that.
yeah.
okay. So we'll try to
That's
talk,
pretty
and I'll
serious.
try to
That's
follow
exactly
up with
what I always
Bob
say.
Wystad too over at the Health
Yeah.
Department, just to ask him about that too, because if it's something, I mean, a health concern like that, we gotta really put the fast track to
Boy, you're telling me.
make sure that we can get something, that people will be safe there, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if, depending on the findings, or if they give us, get you the letter and you authorize water resources, then we would actually go out for getting the engineer by September, October. They'd have
Okay.
it designed by the end of the next year and be, just like Thompson, we'd be going out.
You know, and I
Yeah.
think too, the other thing too, I think it's important for us to be transparent with with this project too, from the beginning with them, to
Yeah, let 'em
basically
know.
give them to, you know, getting them involved rather than bringing them in, you know, with that, to basically explaining it to them, cause you know how that always goes, if you have 40 people, you have 40 opinions, and it's just, I think that everybody's gotta work together on this for the common goal, and we just, I think that, you know, if we need to send out notices or something, even on our end, if we wanted to do a public, you know, public hearing
I
to
think we should do that.
address that, we can-
Absolutely.
We'll assist you guys however we can, so.
Because they need to
Yeah.
know what's
Yeah.
down the road, because it's going to affect each one of those homeowners financially.
Oh, sure.
And, you know, nobody likes to pay for something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, you know it's
Yeah,
needed, but.
Kind of where we're at though is the letter we received is a copy of the letter that was sent from the local office to the Columbus office.
I see.
Yeah.
The Columbus office could come back with Columbus EPA could come back with a completely different decision.
Anyway, I mean, you're talking.
So we
serious.
don't necessarily wanna cause an uproar
Yeah, but,
too early
Until that
till,
letter gets issued.
until we really know that.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I had friends there that
I
lived
doubt
there 40
it'll
years
change,
ago were talking about
based on the
problems.
numbers that came back.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you guys took the initiative too to take some tests there to confirm what the findings were too, so.
And we've done that for other areas where road departments have come up with it.
Yeah.
You know, cleaning out something, as this doesn't smell right, you can come out and take a sample of it and everything's come back fine. It's just been leaves in the,
Yeah.
rotting in the
Sure.
ditch, so.
This wasn't
This
the
was
case.
obviously
I
not.
don't know.
Okay, so basically, so what we're going to do then is we're gonna go ahead to promote you, Jerry, and move you up to the position of the sanitary engineer, and then we'll go ahead to read the action with Laura then coming on board. And what's a projected start date? You're gonna make notification if we go ahead and approve this today for a start, or is it effective August 4th is when she would start?
That would be the start.
Okay.
July
okay.
20th free right away, July 20th free.
Okay.
With the next pay period, obviously.
Okay, so let's read these separately then, and then we'll take a vote on both.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board promote Gerard Morgan to the position of sanitary engineer, number 2306, at a rate of $33.39 per hour, step 5, grade E16, to be effective July 20th, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Smeedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. And then number 12.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve hiring Laura Weber to the position of design engineer, number 2305, at a rate of $31.86 per hour, step 7, grade WR8, to be effective August 4th, 2014, with a 180-day probationary period.
Does her pay increase after that 180 days?
No.
Okay, so
It's
she'll
just-
be at
there's-
66,000 and Jerry's at 69.
Correct.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Smeedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion
Well,
stands
we're gonna miss you,
approved.
John.
I got another year.
Sit down and
A little less than a year.
But we'll miss you.
Less than 2.5 month vacation.
Less 2.5 months.
I do want to do that, though, and he knows that.
How great. Let me
Get
guess
your
where you're
airfare
going.
for
Let's
flying
see.
back and forth from Arizona.
Sahara?
Yeah. Arizona.
There's Sahara. and
He's going to Alaska.
Alaska. Oh, no. Oh, we had enough snow.
I hear it's pretty nice in the summer.
Yeah, when it's like 70.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, guys.
Okay, and to finish up here, what we have left for meetings, we've got NOAC Executive Committee meeting 9 AM in Cleveland on the 11th. Also on the 11th, NOAC Board of Directors, 10 AM in Cleveland. On the 15th, Commissioners will hold a regular session. The 21st, Family First Council at 2 PM, Jobs and Family Services. The 22nd, we'll hold regular session again. The 24th, we'll hold regular session, begin at 6:30 PM across the street at Building Number 8. And on the 29th, we've got Commissioners will hold regular session again.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for
Thank you again, Dean.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you,
welcome
thank
to-
you.
To Geauga.
I want to thank you all for the opportunity to
Thank you.
get in front of you.
Always a pleasure.
Yes.
Going to Dravy Gardens with Dave. Is it Dravy or Davy?